Okay guys, it's apron reassembly time. Alright, so I'm getting set up here. Got all the parts laid out, ready to go. Got the manual, felts, hardware, cleaned, polished, ready to go. So I decided to paint the inside of the apron. I've seen a few other guys do this, and I was debating whether or not to make the extra effort, but I think it's well worth it just for oil return, oil flow smoother, easier to see what you're doing, and easier to spot problems in the future. It required a couple of coats of it's just Rust-Oleum white. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do still. Some of the boards got overspray. Forgot to mask that one off. And just clean up the edges and so forth. And just general light polishing of the surfaces. So let's see what the other side looks like here. Same here. I've got to go through and just clean a little bit of the over spray, over flash, whatever you want to call it, of the paint, and polish the surfaces a little bit. And this is the it's the Sherwin-Williams, the standard stuff that's on the web. Halligan used it, and Basement Shop guy did all the research and came up with the color numbers. I've also added the extra oil hole here. I went with the 1032 thread. Let's see if we get the focus to work here. Gets oiler rather than a push-in. Okay, so there we are. As far as wear, I was worried that that the bore for the rack pinion shaft here was worn, but it's actually in pretty good shape. And as you can see, I gotta clean up some paint overspray there as well. I actually had bought a different apron off of eBay and found out they have two different size hand wheel shafts. So this one is stamped, let's see if I can get it the glare and everything here. Let's see if that comes through. This one's stamped A100. The other one that I picked up stamped A101, and everything matched up except the hand wheel shaft. It had a larger bore, and of course it didn't come with that. As far as wear goes, I thought maybe I had a worn out bore or shaft. So this is the rack pinion. And let's bring it over here to the light where we can see better. Let's see if we can get that to focus in here. Sorry guys, it's just not going to focus. But anyways, quite a bit of wear on those teeth. And I think that was the main issue. Maybe it'll focus this way. And you can see it there. But anyways, it just happened to, while I was doing the project, one showed up on eBay, took a chance, and it's actually got minimal wear. So I think that'll take care of the slop issue that I had with the rack. Okay. The other thing I had to do was make a new key for the worm. Let's go over here to the light. I think this is really common. I think anybody that rebuilds one of these is going to find key. It's not a step key, that's actual wear. Pretty significant. So I just made a new one. Just ordered some key stock from McMaster Car. Threw it in the milled down the step down area. I had to do quite a bit of hand fitting to get the length so it would fit nicely in the worm. And I also I went to the far end of the lead screw, and I had to fit the width a little bit. It was tighter than I was comfortable with, so just had to work it on a stone to reduce the width just slightly and round the ends off. Once again, sorry for the crappy focus here. Alright, so that is ready to go. The other thing is I was having trouble with the clutch. So once again, eBay came through. There was one on eBay. Picked up a completely new to me clutch assembly, and I've had this apart. I lapped the clutch plates. It's in great shape, so I'm happy with that. On the worm, I had the typical fair amount of wear on the thrust surfaces on the bearings. Yeah, I know Halligan, he had to build his up with a bronze washer, but I was pretty lucky. What I ended up doing was just chucking this up in the lathe and facing them off just a little bit. I only took maybe 4 to 5 thousandths off each one, and I also deepened the oil wick groove a little bit on each side, and then just lapped the thrust nuts a little bit. And what I ended up doing, this is the old style worm that has a lot of extra thread, and so there's plenty of room, if this needs to shift one way or the other. So this is the side toward the pinion shaft. Other than facing it and lapping it, I left it alone. But this side here, all I did was just re-drill the lock pin after checking the thrust. I went for about 4 thousandths thrust clearance with it assembled, and just re-drilled. What I ended up doing, I used the nut as a guide. Once I had it set and marked, I just used the 1/8 inch end mill and a hand drill the spot through the threads, and then drilled it with an 1/8 inch drill bit. The pin still seems to fit pretty good. I may have to work on the fit a little bit on final assembly to make sure the pin is in there good and solid. So I'm happy with the way that came out. I went with the red on the levers and the hand wheels, and I also went through the trouble of disassembling the plunger on the selector. I have the other apron I got came with the other style plunger knob, which is knurled, but I kind of like this one better. So and it was easier to polish up. So I'm going with this one. It's the one that came on the machine, so I might as well keep it original. Half nuts, I got them painted up for the same reason, just for oil flow and ease of cleaning and inspection. Same thing with the rear cover. I was worried about the half nuts. They looked like they had a lot of wear, but after getting them cleaned up, they weren't too bad. So I'm going to go with them. Okay. Here's the other items ready to go. hardware. Okay, all right, well, I'm all squared away here. I'm getting a few tools. I got the work area nice and clean. So I'm going to start prepping the casting here, clean it up a little bit, and then, okay, we're getting ready to go back together here. Got the selector lever back together. And we're cleaned up here on the apron now. I test fit every shaft, so every shaft has been in, fit's been checked, cleaned off any overspray, a little bit of surface rust that picked up, shined up the machine surfaces a little bit. Also put in, get her turned around here. Put in the one Glitz oiler here. Gitz oiler. This one's kind of a pain in the butt, so wanted to get it in now and not have to fight it later when the hand wheel and everything's on there. And got the machine surfaces cleaned up here a bit. So we're ready to go back together. Chased the threads. Checked them with a bolt and a tap. Alright. Okay, well, next time I should have it back together. We'll see how it goes. Working on installing the clutch. Okay, here's another example of why you never get rid of your old parts before you're completely done. So the one on the right here is the one that came with the replacement clutch, and the one on the left is my original. And I noticed when I had assembled it, the slinger, oil slinger, was not laying in there flat. It was at an angle and not rotating freely. So check this out. The new one, or the old one, is smaller than the new one in diameter. Just that little bit is all it took. Alright, so let me reassemble it. Let's see how it works with that one. Okay, much better. That's the way you want it to sit. Let's see if we can rotate it here. Yeah, much better, laying nice and flat. I think once it gets a bath of oil on there, it'll spin better, but it's not hitting anything, not dragging. We're looking good. All right, got our felt in place, ready to go. All right, on to the next step.